Hello everyone. Welcome to my channel. Before we start, please hit the like button and subscribe for more. The Young and the Restless spoilers suggest that Nick Newman has always been vastly different from his father Victor Newman. So could a storyline emerge where Nikki Newman had a one-night stand so many years ago? Nick was a result of their one-night stand, but all soaps love to rewrite history, so this is always an option. Especially since Victor and Nick are polar opposites. Nick's a good guy, and Victor is a villain to his core. Plus, all of Victor's other kids seem to have a little of their father in them, with Victoria Newman being the female version of the mustache, and Adam Newman having the same grit his pops has. Abby Winters may gear toward her Abbott side, but she, too, has a methodical and businesslike mind, while Nick always flies by the seat of his pants. One can't help but look at Nick's impulsive personality and irrational behavior as something that could question his paternity. A fine example of this was the Wednesday, November 5th episode, when Nick visited the Shadow Room. He'd been champing at the bit to confront Mitch Bacall, whom Sharon Newman believes is Matt Clark, last played by Rick Hurst. He watched him from afar as Mitch, Detective Morrow, and Sienna Bacall were conversing. Instead of doing something strategic, like perhaps heading back to the hospital to talk about next moves with Sharon, Nick moronically confronted Mitch/Matt by shockingly laying a punch on him. He obviously believes Mitch is Matt, which is why he assaulted him, which was a stupid move on so many levels. Not only did Nick take out the element of surprise by launching a productive strike against Mitch/Matt, but he also risked getting arrested by the Los Angeles police for assault. How would that end up helping Sharon or Noah Newman, Lucas Adams? In addition, the punch will only aggravate Mitch/Matt, whether he's Mitch or Matt. Nick handled things way differently than the way his father would have handled it, which leaves an opening for this paternity storyline, if the show ever chooses to go that route. Nick is a goody two-shoes and has always been. But more than that, he's also one to make rash moves and decisions, often thinking with his heart and not his head. From funding Sally Spectra's business after they broke up, and not asking her for the money back to when it flopped, to legally adopting his brother's child when Adam wanted to take responsibility for Christian Newman. There are so many examples of why Nick is a pushover, who often makes really dumb moves that has Victor shaking his head. He's also a hothead. While he has noble intentions most times, the way he lives his life and conducts his affairs has frustrated his father beyond belief. Still, punching Mitch/Matt takes the cake. Could this launch a new storyline? Could it trigger an angle where people start questioning if Nick is really Victor's son? Did Nikki have a one-night stand with an unknown character that will surface in the days, weeks, or months ahead? The Young and the Restless spoilers remind fans that anything is possible in the land of daytime drama, so Nick turning out to be the child of another man is always plausible. The Young and the Restless recap for Thursday, November 6th, reveals that Noah Newman will hide a Sienna Bacall makeout memory after Nick Newman threatens Matt Clark, aka Mitch Bacall's life. At the Shadow Room on Thursday's YNR episode, Sienna will stand between Nick and Mitch following Nick's punch. Mitch will play dumb, but Nick will be sick of the games and vow to kill Matt if he comes near his family or anyone he cares about. Once Nick storms out, Mitch will act like Nick is clearly crazy and that he belongs in an institution. Sienna won't buy that someone like Nick would deck Mitch without cause, and will wonder if Mitch had another reason for taking Noah under his wing. Mitch will turn menacing at one point and push Sienna to drop this right now, but she won't know she's supposed to forget that Nick punched him and claimed her husband was someone else. Mitch will be more interested in the real connection between Noah and Sienna, but she'll act like it's nothing more than an innocent business relationship that Mitch pushed for. While Sienna once again pushes Mitch for the truth about what's going on with Nick, Sharon Newman, Sharon case, we'll get updates from Nick back at the hospital. Nick will let Sharon know that he socked Matt in the jaw and threatened him, though he was still keeping up his Mitch act. Once Noah returns from more tests, he'll quiz Sharon and Nick about what they're keeping from him regarding his crash. Nick and Sharon will remain cagey until they get the doctor's approval on telling Noah what they know so far. Noah's bandages will also be removed, so fans will finally get their first full look at Lucas Adams' face in the role. Sharon will mention Ali Nigwin, Kelsey Wong, at one point, which will leave Noah with a strange expression. Despite Sharon's offer to get in touch with Ali and give her the latest news, Noah will insist on doing it himself. Noah will also face questions about the Shadow Room, Mitch, and Sienna. After Noah mentions that the Bacalls were helping out with the logistics of opening a new LA club, he'll learn Sienna called his phone. Sharon won't get why Noah didn't tell them that he'd made previous visits to Los Angeles, but he'll act like he wanted to be sure he could pull off a second club first. Noah will hear about his car running off the road near where Sienna and Mitch live. Since Noah was at the club that night, Nick and Sharon will be curious if he remembers anything. Noah will eventually have a memory flash of a heavy makeout session with Sienna at the club, where he was pushing her up against a wall as they kissed passionately. However, Noah will keep that memory to himself and leave Nick looking suspicious, like he knows his son is holding back. At the Abbott house, Kyle Abbott, Michael Mueller, will read a sweet text reply from Claire Newman, Haley Aaron, to Harrison Abbott, Redding Munsell, before taking the kid off to play hockey with Connor Newman, Judah Mackey. That'll give Jack Abbott, Peter Bergman, and Diane Jenkins Abbott, Susan Walters, a chance to talk in private. Diane will convince Jack that it was a mistake to summon Kyle home when his heart is clearly still with Claire in LA. Later, Jack and Diane will push Kyle to make a return trip to Los Angeles right away. It'll take some convincing, but Kyle will ultimately agree to go fight for love and will head upstairs to pack a bag ahead of his flight. While Kyle prepares to head back to LA, Claire will be preparing to return to Genoa City. However, Claire will have some time before her plane takes off, so she'll catch up with Victor Newman, Amelia Heinley, at the hotel cafe. That's where Claire will admit she might have gone a little too wild, but she won't have any regrets about the choices she made during this LA experience. Even so, Claire will admit she's learned some things about Holden and hint about not wanting to live on the edge like him. It'll be clear that Holden isn't the guy for Claire at this point in her life, so Victoria will wonder about Kyle. Claire won't think she can give Kyle the commitment of marriage and living together that he's looking for right now. Victoria will encourage Claire to be honest with Kyle, so that's what she'll plan to do once she heads back to GC. Before Claire can leave, Holden will pop up and admit he's decided to return to Genoa City too. Holden will assume they're on the same flight and will want to go to the airport with Claire, so she'll seem a little uncomfortable after her realization that he's not really her speed. The Young and the Restless spoilers say Claire's love life may remain messy for a while, so stay tuned. Instead of doing something strategic, like perhaps heading back to the hospital to talk about next moves with Sharon, Nick moronically confronted Mitch/Matt by shockingly laying a punch on him. He obviously believes Mitch is Matt, which is why he assaulted him, which was a stupid move on so many levels. Not only did Nick take out the element of surprise by launching a productive strike against Mitch/Matt, but he also risked getting arrested by the Los Angeles police for assault. How would that end up helping Sharon or Noah Newman, Lucas Adams? In addition, the punch will only aggravate Mitch/Matt, whether he's Mitch or Matt. Thank you for watching. Do not forget to bell the notification icon.